Yes.
Present.
White. Present. Councilmember John Larson. You have a quorum. Thank you for that. Okay, council, those in the attendance, welcome to our meeting tonight. It should be a good one, I would imagine. May I get a motion to approve the agenda? Second?
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Larson, second by Councilman Josh Hahn. Any discussion? No, okay, let's go ahead and move for a vote. Councilman Larson?
Yes.
Councilman-
Yes.
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 Yes, you do agree. I like it. All right, we are now going to open our public hearing. Public hearing is in reference to ordinance 2024-7, amending ordinance 2023-3 and title 12, section 12-3-3, Parks and Recreation, potential penalties for park rule violations. If we may introduce and read that ordinance.
Thank you, Council President
Thank you.
Fox. This is the ordinance discussed removing the penalty phase for violation of the park rules. It was published in the newspaper. The public hearing is tonight. It will also appear later on the agenda to approve as the first reading. I will read the ordinance, but I would like to draw the fact to council's attention that the ordinance as it's presented in the packet differs from the original presentation and as advertised in the newspaper, in that in section 2, it lists ordinance numbers and includes an ordinance 1328, which is new to account for the Proposal River Park. With that being said, I will go ahead and read the ordinance as proposed in its entirety.
Thank you, please.
Ordinance 2024-7, amending ordinance 2023-3 and title 12, section 12-3-3, Parks and Recreation, potential penalties for park rule violations. Whereas section 12-3-3 of title 12 provides city park rules specific to each municipal park and potential penalties for violations of said rules. And whereas the mayor and council of the city of Lander find it is in the best interest of the city of Lander to amend ordinance 2023-3 and title 12, section 12-3-3 as to the potential penalties for violations of the park rules. Now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and the council of the city of Lander in the state of Wyoming as follows. Section 1. Amendment 12-3-3 Parks and Recreation of the City of Lander Municipal Code is hereby amended as follows. 12-3-3 Parks and Recreation. A. Individual city park rules. All parks and recreational facilities within the city maintained by the city for the public shall have park rules for each park location as created by resolution and approved and adopted by the governing body. Each park location shall have postage signage listing park rules pertaining to each location. Section 2. Any person who violates this ordinance and or the park rules as set forth in resolutions 1321, 1322, 1323, 1327, and 1328, as they may be amended, located at www.landerwyoming.org/park sites, and as posted on each park restroom is, a conviction of a first offense guilty of a misdemeanor punishable by a maximum fine of $75. B, a second or subsequent offense is punishable by increased fines not to exceed a maximum of $750. And as you can see in the red language stricken out was the old language or imprisonment for not more than 6 months, which is proposed to be removed. Forfeitable bonds will be outlined in the Lander Municipal Court Bond Schedule as adopted from time to time. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith are hereby repealed. Section 4, severability. If any section, subsection, sentence, phrase, or clause of this ordinance or the application thereof to any person or circumstances is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect the other provisions or applications of this ordinance, which can be given effect without the individual provisions or application, and to this end, the provisions of this ordinance are declared to be severable. Section 5, this ordinance shall take effect from and after its passage, approval, and publication as required by law in the ordinances of the city of Lander.
Thank you. Is there any public comment in reference to the public hearing specifically? I don't see any. Did you have anything, Councilman Larson? You're just, okay, very good. Okay, we will close the public hearing. And now moving on through the agenda, is there any communication from the floor? If there is, if you would please come up and highlight your mic, state your name, address. Nothing tonight. Okay, that's good news. All right, now we're going to mayor and council updates. And I'm going to start with Councilman Josh Hahn.
I've got nothing tonight.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Stupel. Thank you, Council President Cox. Conservation District meets tomorrow. I feel like I say that all the time, but they do meet monthly. Is it not coming through? Okay. Okay, I'll get closer. The Conservation District meets tomorrow, so I can take anything forward to that meeting if you'd like. And I'll bring back updates in the next meeting. The Energy Environment Task Force is meeting regularly as well, but I don't have anything to report just yet, I don't think, from that group. And I was on part of the committee that's reviewing the applications for Parks and Rec, and we had a strong showing, lots of applicants and interest in that job, which was exciting to see. So, not many updates, Council President Cox. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Hahn. Thank you. And Councilwoman White.
Thank you. A few things for you. So met with the senior center this morning. They continue to just do an amazing job of their services they provided, including it seems like every month the meals that they serve just goes up and up and up. For July, it was 3,443 lunches. They also stepped in addition to that, they stepped in to help the Riverton Senior Center because their kitchen staff was all out sick. And if no one was available to provide foods, then there'd be, Zippo food. So that was really an incredibly generous and really shows the spirit of, Lander and Fremont County. We help each other out, which is really neat. They also want to let folks know that Wyoming Legal Services will be in Lander at the Senior Center on September 11th, offering assistance with things like wills, medical directives, etc., for free for any seniors. So, and it's advised to call the Senior Center to get an appointment for that. So make sure they make time for you. Lance, I want to say thank you for the quick response this afternoon to citizen concern about better marking for where some of the road work is being done. Planning Commission has been going around and talking to various community groups to try to provide some education about the proposed housing changes, which is, again, that's such a hardworking group, and I really appreciate they go above and beyond, not only in their meetings, but then to take this on as well. Much appreciated. Lastly, in terms of air service, so July was the highest month ever of any month, not just July's, but of any month for air service since our reliable records began in January of 2002. So psyched about that, and want to add a clarification that while we're psyched that there's strong employments, it doesn't mean that the revenue guarantee goes away. The revenue guarantee is based on reasonable anticipated number of flyers. So it's not as if it's starting with the plane being empty and everything goes against it. It's assumed that there's going to be a reasonable number of employments already. So, but being above that is certainly good news for us. So it doesn't mean that the MRG goes away. It just means that it is less than anticipated when we have strong employments and strong ticket prices. So I wanted to clarify that. And that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Larson.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few things. Had a meeting with LOTRA there last week. They had their report on the rodeo. It went extremely well. They were really pleased with with the turnout for the rodeo and also the profitability of the rodeo. So it was just good all the way around. Also have chamber meeting there tomorrow morning and solid waste board there on Monday. So we'll get information on those on our next go round. Also, maybe Chief can help me out on this one, but boy, the vain and lustful side come out on me there today. I don't know if any of you seen all the Corvettes that were here in town. There was like 17 of them, and it was anywhere from the 2010 down to the brand new ones, with the rear engines. And boy, it was just beautiful. It just had me slobbering all over everything. So that's all I got.
I appreciate that. I missed that, unfortunately. Thank you for those updates. I will say that I participated in an audit with the Community Service Block Grant today. And as you know, or as you may have remembered me saying, that is a resource available in our community, in our county, that provides services and resources for those who are struggling as far as poverty level goes, but a really good momentum in that program and heading in the right direction and have a lot of resources to offer. So certainly looking in a positive direction at this point. I just want to touch a little bit on the golf course. If you haven't used your pass, I would encourage you to do so. It looks really good. And our golf course board has done a really good job of putting in some work to an incredibly challenging course. That's how I would describe it. So I appreciate them for that. As far as the other, I'm not one for huge accolades, but I think that it needs to be mentioned that I am impressed with the communication of our city. I've noticed there's a lot of things happening pretty consistently and the information is getting out quickly. An example I'll give is today with the power outage. That information was disseminated like in real time as it's happening. It's almost like somebody's anticipating power going out. So it is appreciated. I had several people comment to me today about how nice it was to you just automatically get an update. It's good. So thank you for that, for staff for doing that. We'll now go to staff reports. We'll start with you, Chief.
I don't have a whole lot. We're staying pretty busy. I'm sure you know about the power outage. That's what happens when a logging truck thinks he can make it through a narrow roadway. So it didn't end very well, but from what I heard, we're supposed to get our power back by about 7 on that side of town. So besides that, it's just our busy time of year. The tourists are finally clearing out, so that's nice. So our main street's not quite as congested as it has been for the last month. So that's all I got, unless you have any questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Lance.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple updates on projects. Paposia Street should be paved this week. So that one's coming along. We should see concrete on 6th and then pavement to follow. I'm afraid that 6th off the highway is going to affect school by the time that we're able to get pavement down after concrete cures. So a little bit of time on that one if you get asked. We've talked to most of the residents and business owners in that area. They're all restored as far as water and sewer goes, but it's surfacing at this point. There was consistently maybe an inch of asphalt across the top of that road. And so that's fairly consistent with, I guess the message that I want to give to you guys when we ask about potholing and maintain is because you can't mill it and overlay it and get back into it, and the lack of pavement maintenance that occurred over the last 30 years. So we're trying to maintain what we can. We will surface these, put them back together where it makes sense, but just wanted to give you an update. That road should be in really good shape after that, but it's only one block in town. And that was because it froze and the water lines were shallow and undersized in that area is why we tackled that project. It ended up spiraling to videoing and replacing services and getting out of the roadway. And, we'll do that where we can, but a lot of that is partnership between contractors and takes a lot of our crew to take on projects like that. I was in the tank. They just buttoned up the side door on that tank. The echoing is crazy. It looks like a small gymnasium when you're inside of that. I wish I could have taken you all in and showed you what that looked like, but I'm and filling that and do the leak test. But within a few weeks, that crew will be out of town and the tank will be ready. So then it'll be the next steps to get the overflow, the site work back, the backfilling. There's a lot to have happen to get that tank into service. But that project's moving along on pace and on schedule. And we may be adding a little bit of work included. So we have a price for that. And then the not so great news is that we ended up punting our wells project for right now. And we're asking for an extension through water development on that project and going to put in an application in September that I'll be asking for a resolution and approval for. Originally, that was, I think, just over $1 million project. The engineer's estimate after we got going and after inflation was 2.2. We had one bid and it was 3.4 million. And that's a huge hit. If we were just covering the third of the project, the recommendation from water development was that they were only going to cover 50% of the project. And so going back in their system and asking for them to at least cover 2/3 of that project again as their norm, I think that's important for us to go through that process and see if water development does have additional funding, and then talk about how that increased funding may affect our other projects, because that's money that we're pledging to try to get our infrastructure projects done and our roadway projects. So, the enterprise money is not infinite. That all comes from rates, and right now, we just do not have the money to undertake that with that kind of increase in project amount. So, if you guys have questions on that, I'm happy to answer any questions. But that's kind of staff what we're thinking, and then you'll see the paperwork come through close to September for that resolution, and we can talk more about the wells. And they are a great thing. They're emergency backup supply and additional water for this community. We want to get it in. Just timing right now based on cost is not good. So I'll be happy to answer any other questions you guys may have.
I do think we have a couple of questions. Councilmember Stubble?
Thanks, Council President Cox. Thanks, Lance. That seems like a wise and prudent choice to, use the best or leverage our dollars in the best way. Just a clarification, so I'm always clear on the process. So we were going to go for contingency funds. That's where they would match 50%. This application in September will mean we're going after the water omnibus bill and legislative appropriations in February.
Yes.
And so would we have started, is this really going to delay construction? Because we wouldn't have started construction.
It's going to move it a year
It
at
will
least.
move it a full year. Okay.
Mhm.
Because in February we get the appropriation and then
Yeah, we will not be under construction and most likely in 2025, because you're going to go through the process, maybe get it out for bid, and then you'll be into maybe summer, late fall, and the following year for construction. So we were hoping to be, awarding that project now and then building it next year, but that changes. So we were hoping construction in 2025 and completion in 2025, and most likely completion will be 2026 at
Got it.
best now.
okay. So
And-
if we're part of the successful omnibus bill, water bill, then we would then go out for bid after. Okay, great.
And we were under the impression, under the contingency funds, we were still going after 2/3. It was the inflated cost that the recommendation came back at 50%. They were not anticipating having to give us that much funding. And they did not like that we did not have more than one bid locally. They didn't feel that was a good comparison for the market. And we did do a deep dive into cost of materials and the contractor's bid, but it was still something they were not comfortable moving on.
Yeah, again, seems prudent. We're not in an emergency situation. And so another year is, it's always disappointing to hear, but makes some sense for the best use of our funds.
And the tank being built provides us a buffer that talking to our operators, both on the operation and maintenance side as well as the water treatment side. They're feeling pretty good about the improvements we made, and the investments to the water plant you guys have approved is with the double valves, and it's putting us in a better situation anyway. So a lot of the investments and things we're showing up give us more confidence in the system that hopefully we don't need to tap into an emergency supply in the near future.
Councilmember Larson, thank you.
Yes, thanks, Lance. Just going back to 6. Stuff is not completely finished. Is that correct? It looks to me like they're going back with everything. I mean, it looks like it's done.
It is. It was not a complete sewer replacement because we cambered it and you can line it. And so we repaired what we needed to. We extended the clay services that were there outside the roadway. And so everything that we need to know that we don't have to get back in the road is done, but it was not a complete sewer replacement.
Okay, so it was being able to line the clay then is probably what they were talking about. That was not.
Well, and those lining projects we'll keep an eye on them, but those pipes at this and then if we were to put a structural liner in it, at some point in time, would it take it? So that's how we evaluate them. We get a video, look through it, and that pipe's in really good shape, other than the small services that we replaced going outside of it. And we had to replace, I think, 2 of them because we hit them. So, we were already on the start.
Yeah.
as we-
Okay, well, that's good. Like I say, what I was looking at today, it looks like they're
Yep,
going back to
surface.
final stuff, so it looks really good.
Yeah, so it's pouring the concrete and then putting the asphalt against the cured concrete.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with Councilmember Josh Hahn. He was next in line, or do you pass it off? Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Just a quick question. I don't, when we do the bid process, I know like we're obviously all about spending locally and stuff. Does that go Fremont County wide, or is it bigger? Does it cover a large area? I never knew, so it's.
Sure. Yeah, we try to promote those projects as much as possible. So it goes countywide, but it also goes statewide. And then we use the state bidding process that most contractors use. So quite of the big service that goes out, and that hits contractors all over. Of somebody who might be in that line of work to bid the project. So we try to advertise them as much as we can, plus the requirement of legally advertising them in the local paper. So that is our one you must do, but we're trying to push out. So we had Oftedal from Casper came and looked at this project. They didn't ultimately ended up bidding it. Alexander
The watering part, the reason why I've been driving past looking and in the middle of the trees, that line of trees and shrubs, the water is just pouring straight down and it's coming across the sidewalk. And I was just wondering who was in charge of that. I was going to stop and take a look and see if the line was actually broken, but I'm
Sure.
not sure where the water's coming from.
Are we talking about the line of trees near Maven going out of town?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so that is ours, and we have that by permit, a landscaping permit, technically through our Parks and Rec staff. And we've had problems with that line and repaired it multiple times this year after the construction.
Okay.
And so that's probably something we need to be aware of, and we'll run back up and take a look at.
Yeah, I didn't know. I couldn't remember who was maintaining. Anyway, that's all I had.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks. We'll take a look at it.
It's a good question. Any other questions from council? All right, thank you, Lance.
Thank you.
Regine.
Thank you, council. The open house, thanks to everybody who attended the open house. We didn't have our record attendance, but we probably had just about 100 people there that afternoon. The people that walk through the door say, what a great venue to come and talk to all different department heads of the city. So I want to thank those of you that came and the department heads and the staff that gave their time up that day to talk to the public. You might have seen a building permit on our door. We are about ready to start a remodel in the back hall here. We'll turn the hallway and unused space into 2 new offices and enlarge both conference rooms for larger venues. That's being done through those general services contracts. So another win where we can get bids from local contractors, get people in here to do the work without going out on a very long process for request for proposals. We did it once up front and we have contracts with these people for 3 years. As Missy said, the Planning Commission has hit the circuit. They will be at your work session on August 27th to discuss their proposed changes to Title IV. Title IV, with any luck, will be on the September first reading, more likely October, because we've got a lot of administrative changes to make, but we're looking forward to getting those 3 readings done here. And first part of next year, we would have a new Title IV adopted, should you guys choose to do that. And then the last thing is the Housing Authority Board is running into barriers with authorities to award the bid that they already have in hand. So at the next work session, they are going to come to you also with some proposals for how to proceed with the Table Mountain Living Community. And that's all I have, unless you have questions for me. Any questions? Okay. All right, Adam.
I don't have anything tonight unless somebody has a question for me.
For Adam? Well, all right. Michelle.
Thank you, Council President Cox. The City of Leander Policies and Procedure Review continues to be underway. It takes a while to look at policies and decide what might work and then realize that that might not work for the police department and then relook at them again. But the goal is that you will hopefully start seeing those as well, work sessions for proposed updates and things of that nature. Part of that review was reviewing payroll practices as well. And going forward, there'll be a slight change to overtime calculations and some employees may receive a retroactive adjustment as well. The priority review date for the Parks and Recreation Director was August 1st, 2024. At that date, the city had received 79 applications. The hiring committee is in the initial review phase of all the applicants, and the goal there is to have the pool narrowed and to call and start scheduling interviews for August 26th. And thank you to those of you who are willing to serve on that committee. I appreciate that. The Lander Community Convention Center request for proposal closed August 1st, 2024, and that you will see later on the agenda, but I'm happy to answer questions about that if anyone wants to discuss that at this time. The potential contract is on the agenda under new business. And in our next work session, there will also be a tour of the Inn at Lander, Fabian Lovera's business. The thought would be that we would convene here, do the pledge, do the roll call, go do the tour and come back for the rest of it. Just a heads up about that. Any
Yes.
questions for me?
Yes, Councilmember Stubble.
Thank you. Not the Inn at Lander, right? The,
Oh,
this is different, yeah.
Lander Motel.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, exciting to see, I love to see the project and I imagine there's pretty good use put of some of the grant money through the program. But I question a tour the night that we're gonna have discussion, a work session on Title IV, which seems to me like a pretty lengthy topic, perhaps. I mean, I wonder if the council would be interested in a tour at a different time or to be convened a little earlier. That strikes me as that could be that's a
Happy,
really long night, perhaps.
happy to entertain whatever works best for the council. I don't know what the city attorney's opinion is, but if the entire council intends to participate in the tour, it's probably an open meeting situation. So.
That's correct.
But we can certainly have it on any date, or I didn't. Anne even talked about arranged for the Lander Motel tour, and I wasn't aware that Title IV would also potentially be on there, so happy to adjust as council wants. I understand that this could be a lengthy process.
I mean, I wonder if, maybe meeting a little earlier, perhaps. And it strikes me like, it's a work session, so there's no public comment on the Title IV, but I would think we have a lot of questions and conversations to be had.
Yeah, I would, yes, I would agree. Does anybody else have thoughts on that schedule or what that looks like? Do a 5:30 start? Do we give you enough time?
I do know that Mr. Libera was more concerned about going later versus earlier. Earlier was better for him with his guests. So I can certainly reach out if the council would like to have the goal be a 5 or a 5:30 start and coordinate that.
I think of, would, are people in agreement to 5 p.m. or is that too early? Do we need to do 5:30? My call on. I think we should do 5 p.m. Keeps us on the hour and then allows for some extra time if needed. So we would meet here in chambers at 5. We would do the pledge, call the meeting to order, do the pledge, and then head that direction and be back.
Correct.
And then that way we could be back for a start time of 6 p.m. for the Title IV conversation. Okay, I think that's a good decision. The date,
I believe it's the 27th of August. I was going to say the 28th, but then I thought
it's 2 weeks from today. And then if anybody should forget that the 5 p.m. start.
I will do my best to advertise that loudly. In fact, I may call a special meeting because we're changing the start time. So
Okay. Yes, and thank you. All right, looks like the staff reports have completed. And if I could get a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I approve approval of the consent agenda.
Second, I've got a motion to approve by Councilmember Stubble, a second by Councilmember Larson. Let's call for the question. Councilmember Josh Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, business. Business is non-action items. Letter A, discussion concerning the City of Lander grant pre-application requesting $35,000 from the Wyoming Energy Authority to conduct an energy audit, evaluate the feasibility of additional insulation or window replacement at the Public Works Department facility. Is everybody able to review that application? I see 2 hot mics over there, Reggie and Rochelle. Do either one of you want to address?
Thank you, Council President. A lot of times these would be on a staff report, but Anne even isn't here tonight, so we have it on a non-discussion or a non-action item. Anne is working on both of these grants. So the first one is the Wyoming Energy Authority. This comes up every year. We have used it in the past to make upgrades at the water treatment plant, make upgrades at furnaces at the senior center and those types of things. They are energy efficiency related. This year, we've decided that we'd like to do some energy efficiency upgrades to Public Works. And it is $35,000 grant if awarded, and the city has to put up 10%, a minimum of 10%. So at this point in time, this is one of those grants where until the energy audit is done, we don't know what the grant will cost, but what the upgrades will cost, but we are afforded up to $35,000 of those costs if awarded. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer that.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Hahn.
We've had these audits before, right?
Correct.
So question I had, it's kind of like all the different things that are going on. When they do this audit, how long are they? Because when they audit, they come in and audit all of our buildings, right?
Not for this grant. They'll just be auditing the Public Works building.
Okay.
In a
Were
previous,
they done where I'm
Yes.
getting at, were they done before?
not the Public Works building. So in a previous audit, under
Okay.
this program, we did the treatment plant, the city hall, and the community center.
Okay.
And so we went ahead and implemented changes and upgrades at the treatment plant.
And then.
For
and then-
this application, this will be specific to Public Works. Now, the Energy Task Force went ahead and audited all our buildings as a side, right? But that doesn't qualify for the things that are needed in this grant application.
Okay,
So
so.
that was just a general information for.
And
the
then going
facility.
way back when they did the fire hall and redid everything. So these are just little steps
Right.
then. Okay, that's what I wanted to
Yeah,
know. Thank
great.
you.
Thank you, Councilmember Han. Councilmember Stubble.
I mean, thanks, Council President. I just wanted to shout out, as I understand it, this was done in collaboration with the Energy and Efficiency Task Force, or at least they served as advisors and maybe some technical help.
Mhm.
I don't know all the details with who did what with Ann, but I just wanted to shout them out that something that they noticed as an area for improvement. And I think they've helped make some connections and had conversations with the Wyoming Energy Authority. So
Yes, that's
thanks to
true.
them for helping us save some cash here. Trust. Thanks to Ann as well, all the staff time.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Item B, under new business, or I should say letter B. Discussion concerning City of Lander grant pre-application requesting $29,594 from the Lore Foundation to replace one indoor and 3 exterior fountains at City Park. Thank you.
This was generated by a citizen. A citizen requested, this was a project that they generated that they would like to upgrade and fix the water fountains at City Park. Right now, they're seasonal, they leak. We do have a few worn out issues for those at City Park. They went to Lore came to the city. This has already been granted and parts are ordered, locations have been identified, but we haven't started any installation.
Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Larson.
Yes, are these gonna be year-round fountains that's available in?
They are a frost-free installation.
Okay,
And I don't know the exact location, so I apologize. I should have looked that up.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that parks will run them, but they will be frost-free. So they should be a lot less maintenance than the ones we have now.
okay. Now I've seen that it had, pet friendly stuff where you can give your dog a slobber of water if you needed to. And,
As I understand it,
water
one of
bottles.
these stations is a
Yeah.
pet station.
Yes, Councilmember Han.
Kind of on the subject, is Lore? Are they leaving after this year? Or are they staying?
That is true. They had a 5-year contract to be in Lander and that ends in December. I haven't heard of any extensions or any leaving early, but they were originally planned to only be here through December of 2024.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Lance.
Thanks, Council President. Just wanted to fill in a couple more details. This was actually a high school project. And the project was just set out to present an idea of some sort of change in your community. And that high schooler presented this project to Lori and Jason about, switching the existing fountains that are within City Park out for ones with bottle fillers, to be more conservative with the water and to upgrade them and change them. And after Jason and Lori listened to that, they said, okay, now how do we implement it? And so that's how Laura came to be involved with this project. So it's cool how it grew. These are the existing locations. So the back restroom where we already have sanitary sewer clear in the back of the park. That's where one of them is. There's a drinking fountain by the lion shelter. That one's being replaced. The other side of the tennis courts and then the one in the building. So those are the 4 different spots. So upgraded commercial grade, but now they have new features to fill bottles. And my understanding is this project is growing and there's other places in town that want to be sponsored for potentially more bottle filling stations or places that don't have fountains, such as like our restrooms by the county's museum or in that area where you don't have something there. And so it's growing, and we'll probably be back if it continues to grow the way it is, talking about this project being more. But Laura was really looking for a water project for the city of Lander. And this is the one that rose to the top.
Councilmember Stewart.
It's just a little commentary. The backstory to the health plans it's always remarkable to hear about the number of citizen ideas and then the what if conversations that happen with Laura and Laura. Yeah, saying, yeah, let's do it. That 5 years went fast. I didn't realize it was this December. I guess I thought there was one more year. So we will miss them. I'm grateful for this and always exciting to see a $0 match from the city. So it's fully funded from them.
If I may. Madam President, I just read a email from Amy Vincent that said they will probably be here through mid-2026.
That's great news. That is great news. Yes. Yep. Yep, that's great news. Great. That is great. Thank you for that. Okay, now we're going on to new business. And first item, excuse me, to get a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 2024-7, amending ordinance 2023-3 and Title 12, Section 12-3-3, Parks and Recreation, potential penalties for park rule violations. So moved. Motion, and I get a second.
Second.
Second. Motion by Councilmember White, second by Councilmember Josh Hahn. Discussion. Okay, we'll call for the question. Councilmember, oh, yes, no.
Quick on that one. So we're removing the jail time, Council President, that's what I'm saying. Yep, fine, and then, am I correct that we're adding the resolution numbers here for the resolutions from that we will approve later in this meeting? Or changes?
Correct. One of the resolutions, I believe, is being amended to add a park that we inadvertently didn't have covered, and then creating rules for the Paposia River Park, which we also didn't have. In conversations with the city attorney, it's our belief and hope to keep all those resolution numbers the same so that they become known to be the park rule resolutions. And then we will just amend them and note the years of amendment going forward. So oftentimes this council will see resolution A, which repeals or replaces resolution B. And the thought here is that your resolution numbers will stay the same, even if you have amendments to the park rules, so that people know where to find them.
Sounds good.
Does that make sense?
It does, yes. And yeah, pleased to see the need for behavior around continuing the jail time.
Agreed. Okay. Discussion item, we'll call for the question. Councilmember Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Item B, approve amendment to resolution 1323, setting rules for J.C. Dillon, Goodrich, and Centennial Parks in accordance with city ordinance. Question of clarification. Should that be 2024-7?
It should. I'm going to say it should.
Okay, so just by way of procedure, should we go back and amend the agenda? All right, so if you see that, council, we've got to change the city ordinance it should read 2024-7 and not 2023-3 now that we've approved. Is that correct, or should we?
What
Oh.
if? Right, I'm still thinking through the first, should it be 2023-3 or 2024-7?
Until the third reading.
City Attorney Phillips, what if it read 2023-3 as it may be amended? Then you're still covering the original ordinance which created the park rules, but showing that the amendments are possible, which is exactly what you have in front of you.
So we need to go back and amend the agenda. Or we can just make the amendment to this item and then the next.
You don't need to amend the agenda. You can just amend it with
Okay.
that wording.
Okay. All right.
So a motion to amend.
Motion to amend to add the wording on, vote on that, and then
Right.
vote on the.
Okay. May I get a motion to
Yes,
amend?
I will move to amend 9B to be in accordance with city ordinance 2023-3 as may be amended by 2027-7, 2024-7.
Get a second to that amendment?
Yep.
Second. Motion by Councilmember White, a second by Councilmember Larson. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. So,
No. Yeah, you don't have to, yeah, you're good.
so C already has as it may be amended on there, so we don't need to change that as well, correct? So
That's
just-
correct. That's right.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, let's call for the question. Councilmember Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Item 9C, approve resolution 30.
So leave approved their position.
Oh, pardon me. Yes. May I get thank you. A motion to approve resolution 1330 or 1323 as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Second. The motion by Councilmember White, a second by Councilmember Hahn. Any discussion? Call for the question. Councilmember Josh Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, now on to 9C. Approve resolution 1338, setting rules for Paposia River Park in accordance with city ordinance 2023-3 as it may be amended. Get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Larson, second by Councilmember Stupel. Any discussion?
I did. Yes. the main.
Of course.
I was going back and forth. I'm not of one mind on this yet. We're setting rules for a park that's not yet developed. It's some of the activities we set rules for here, like alcohol use, right? Or even the hours. We're not, staff on hand, like we don't have facilities there to help, right? Have trash cans, right? Or, it's a known field at this point. So I hesitated to set these rules with a degree of specificity of our activities. It could be, right, inappropriate until the park is actually developed. That being said, not having rules at all is also probably inappropriate. So I guess I'd be curious, you have it in front of us, so I assume the staff recommendation is we are specific at this level, but I don't know, can you talk to us about how we would be monitoring activity, at this undeveloped park?
I can't speak to the monitoring and enforcement, but the discussion here is the park is getting used anyway. It is open to the public. We're tearing down fences and making it even more accessible to the public. So if there were issues down there, what would we enforce? Right now, we only have a resolution on the books that says it will be used for city park use, and we don't have any rules attached to it. So our, I guess, common thinking was, let's make it the same rules as all the other large city parks, and then we have something to go by for enforcement, should anything untoward happen down there.
That makes sense, Council President. I guess you can't close it at this point. I haven't looked at it this summer, so it should, but would it be obvious about where motor vehicles should go? Is it you drive around and bounce around out there in a way that we wouldn't want them? Wouldn't want them to be doing? Is it- right, so
It's
based on
not
what we're
obvious.
taking
There's a
directly?
two trail track
Yeah.
that is getting more and more obvious because of the
Because
use.
they use it.
People are accessing the river there and taking out craft and
Well, I guess these rules would help with that, because then we have a no motor vehicles are allowed off designated improved roadways rule. So that's helped make my mind up, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, thank you. We'll call for the question. Councilmember Larson?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, item 9D, approve resolution 1339, creating a Lander semi-quincentennial committee. Get a motion.
approval of resolution 239.
Second,
I'll give a second.
we have a motion by Councilmember Stubble, a second by Councilmember Wright. Any discussion? This is exciting, actually. I feel like this is really a cool project and something to be looking forward to. Call for the question, Councilman Josh Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Item 9E. Approve and authorize the mayor to sign updated retainer agreement between the city of Lander and James Whiting Law PC for municipal court public defender services. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion.
Second. We got a motion by Councilmember Josh Hahn, a second by Councilmember Dan Hahn. Any discussion?
Yes. I mean,
Please.
Michelle or whoever wants to do this one, yes. Can you remove the change here in compensation? I didn't love our former agreement.
$75. The change is from $100 an hour to $175 an hour. And it is my belief that there has not been a change in compensation for approximately 10 years or more. Or more.
And Attorney Phillips, if you could, does this align with market rates? Is this below or above? How do we land on 175?
I don't know how that figure came up, but it's below.
Other discussion?
So to add Council President Cox, I mean, so I don't delegate, but some conversation with the mayor, as I understand it, performance. With Mr. Whiting, and so we don't have any concerns with the services he's offering or the wait. I'm shocked that 10 years no increase. To help save the $5 bump, go down a lot here. That's more time.
Yes, you're welcome. No other discussion? I'll call for the question. Councilmember Hahn?
Yes.
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 Yes. And just to be clear, sometimes I forget where I started the last time. So if there's confusion. It's because of me. All right. 9F, approve and, oh wait, yes, 9F, approve and authorize the mayor to sign updated retainer agreement between the city of Lander and Rick Sollers, Western Law for municipal court prosecutor services. Can we get a motion? Second?
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Dan Hahn, a second by Councilmember Stubble. Any discussion? Yes, and I don't know how many years has Rick been has he been doing
Over
this?
20.
I was gonna say it's been,
And he's never gotten a raise either.
I think it's been more than that. I've been here 23 years, 24 years now, and he was the prosecuting attorney when I started in juvenile justice all those years ago, so it's been a minute. There's been inflation. That's what people say anyway. That's what people say. Okay. Did I get a motion? Yes. Any discussion? Okay, we'll call for the question. Councilmember Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, 9G, authorize mayor to sign agreement with High Country Construction for the completion of the Lincoln Street Improvement Project for the total amount of $7,296,256.80. You get a motion.
So moved.
Second, thank you. We've got a motion by Councilmember Larson, a second by Councilmember White. Any discussion? Yes, Councilmember Dan Hahn.
I was wondering, and I don't know if you were talking about this before, I couldn't hear it, but did we find the extra funding for this project? And the other thing is do we have a little extra, or there's probably going to be change orders on this son of a gun?
So to answer both your questions, once we're under contract, that's when we can pursue the additional ARPA funds. So once you guys give us the authorization, then we can go back to the state who has extra funds for this. And this was not a full ARPA award when we originally put this project out. So I'm hopeful that there will be additional funds that can be applied to this project. We can fund this project right now and build it. Just trying to, squeeze every penny that we can. And we can value engineer some of this with the contractor once we get them under contract as well. So that means going over items. Are there any savings? Can we lower this and see how they see the project as well? So looking forward to that process and then coming back and reporting to you where we're at. And then if we found some additional funding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. No other discussion? We call for the question. Councilmember Josh Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Item 9H, approve S 24.03 Amaretti First Subdivision, Block 56, lots 1, 2, replat. Thank you.
This is a case where the family owns two residences on one lot and they wanted to split that up for future generations. It's been through the planning commission and the planning commission recommends approval of this plat.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. I'll give a second. Motion by Councilmember Josh Hahn, second by Councilmember White. Any discussion? Hearing none, we will call for the question. Councilmember Larson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Right. Item 9I, authorize the mayor to sign contract 241542 mineral royalty grant 23007 agreement between the state of Wyoming, Office of Lands and Investments, and City of Lander in the amount not to exceed $400,000 to be used for a replacement vac truck. Sign the combination sewer unit agreement and bid E0524 combination sewer cleaner unit notice of award. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. A motion by Councilmember Larson, a second by Councilmember Stubble. Any discussion? Yes, please.
All right, so this was number one on the list for the loan we're receiving from the state of Wyoming. So how does that work in correlation with that loan? 'Cause it was, I believe it was 800,000 total is what you guys had on the paperwork for this back truck. And that was all coming out of that loan, but now we got this. So is that loan gonna cover half? Is that?
Yeah, and so this is supplemental from the state and it's all grant that we're
Right.
receiving. So we went back in, it was eligible because it's storm sewer for their programs, and then they awarded us the grant on top of the project. So it will just deduct from that overall amount when we can get grants. We're gonna go back in every year through this program. They said if we make applications for up to $500,000, we should probably be able to continue to receive just grants on these projects and portions of these projects if they have the money. So we're kind of lined up in the future, and fire trucks are also eligible for these items. Big items like that will fall into this category. Right now, engine 6, we're pursuing a different grant for 6. If we're able to get that, that's a pretty big, like 95.5 match grant. If we get that one, that's great. If not, something like that may plug into this program really well.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Councilmember.
Lance, did you ever buy a blade?
We did.
Okay.
Yep. And so it's up there, and the second one's probably 2 or 3 years down the road.
Mhm.
I just want to space them out so they're not back-to-back hits, to the council. But we just had equipment meetings today
Mhm.
as far as our 5-year plan. And I'd be happy to share that with you guys once we get it finalized and get it in your inbox.
Okay.
We've been doing really well, and our supervisors looked at the things that we checked off the list and said, thank you. And I said, well, thank your council. You know, they're funding this equipment replacement and making it work. And I told them, I said, we got to get rid of some of these treasures that you guys are holding on to too, so that we're not parking things outside. I said, you know,
Indeed.
sometimes you got to let go as well, but
All right,
we're working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I did have a question. Adam, you've had a chance to review this contract?
I have not yet.
Okay. Always only have, as far as what we're required to do, making sure the language is correct. So if there's no other questions, we'll call for the question. Councilmember Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, moving on to item 9J, consideration of award of the Lander Community and Convention Center Facility Manager Request for Proposals. That's RFP 70222024, and authorization for the council president and clerk to sign an agreement for services. Let me get a motion.
So moved.
Second? Thank you. Got a motion by Councilmember White, second by Councilmember Larson. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilmember Hahn.
I only have one comment, and between the lawn care and without lawn care, it's $100 a month. Is that even feasible? To take care of the grounds up there for $100 a month? Because I know that people just getting their lawns, around town are like 70 plus. I was just wondering if that was a little light.
Any discussion in reference to that? Yes, please.
Comment on the cost, if that's feasible or not. We had two contracts in our, for us, and are we deciding tonight, if we want the grounds of keeping it or not? Is that the choice in front of us?
So council members, the choice in front of you would be which entity to award the bid, and then whether you're awarding it with groundskeeping or without, because we had two separate entities put in proposals. So there are 4 total proposals, 2 with groundskeeping and 2 without. And I was unsure which way the council would choose to go. So I put them in there for your consideration and discussion.
Council President.
Yes, please.
So a question, if, what are the options if we accepted a bid without groundskeeping? Who would then be responsible for doing that? And is there capacity in elsewhere for that to happen?
And my understanding is that Shari, who's not here tonight, requested that I put it out this way because the thought would be perhaps we would investigate proposals for groundskeeping as well and see what a different outfit might look like and what they might charge and what they might provide in terms of services as well.
Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Hahn.
I really think in that case, $100 is not, I don't think that's gonna cover it. If we go with, if we go with a contract without, then have $100 to play with to try to get somebody up there to do it, I don't think that's gonna work. I think it's gonna have to be in the, 2 or 250 a month.
Yeah, I would agree. I was able to go look at the grounds today. And there's some issues. There's weeds, there's, some overgrown landscaping. It's a task, and, it's something that I think we need to take care of. It's a beautiful facility, and there's thistle, and, that fireplace is a really beautiful asset to that community center. And there's a situation up there, and it needs to be addressed. But I would agree. I don't think $100 would be enough. Councilmember White.
I think that's not really our question. I mean, if that's what a contractor thinks they can do it for, that's on themselves for doing that. I think and along with that, I think, if we were to put it out to bid for someone who's a landscaper, correct, we're likely to see a much more substantive bid. So I would say the question for us is, do we want to accept this bid with grounds for 3,500? Or we go for without, and then put it out to bid, knowing that will likely be a more substantive price point.
I move that we submit the bid without the groundskeeping.
Out groundskeeping, and then eventually put out a bid for groundskeeping.
Yes.
We do that as we have moved.
He's made a motion. If there's not a second, then the motion dies.
Okay. We've already had a motion and a second on this to consideration of the award of the land or proposal and authorization for the council to sign. We've had a motion and a second on that.
You did, yes. So I guess you still have to make a decision on what to do. And so
Yep.
Mr. or Councilman Larson has made a motion, a subsequent motion, which either has to be seconded or not, to be able to decide what you want to do with that.
State your motion, Councilmember Larson.
Yes, I'd move that we would propose, or that we would move on the contract without the groundskeeping on there, so $3,400. And then we would pursue groundskeeping through another RFP.
You have a motion on the table, second. Yes, if we could, if we're not gonna get a second, it would die. Otherwise, we get a second, then discuss. No second motion.
I'll give a second.
You'll
We can
second-
discuss it.
Okay, yeah, let's move to discussion then. Councilmember Hahn.
All right, so I've been holding a lot of comments from the public in and not bringing it up. I like the idea that Mr. Larson or Councilman due to the fact that I've had a few bigger business people come to me and complain about the interior of the community center and the cleanliness and stuff. And actually, I've witnessed this myself, doing a function there. Definitely could use a little more attention. So I'm definitely thinking, what Councilman Larson has brought up is probably a good idea, because I'm afraid if we took the other option, the outside's gonna look not much different than it does now. So, you know, it might cost more, but you get what you pay for. I'm thinking take care of the grounds.
Any other discussion, Councilmember Hahn?
I think the problem here is if we do this at $3,400 and it costs us $300 a month that's just that much more in the hole we are with the community center. That's the way I look at it. And that's my final comment.
Okay. Okay, the previous contract we had, were they doing the groundskeeping as well?
Yes, it was part of that contract. It was. And the other thing, please note that the previous contract was a 2-year term. This one is proposed as a 4-year term. And council needs to consider that as well. So that's up to you. And just to be clear, everybody understands there were 2 bids, one from the current contractor and one from an outside entity.
Why was the 4-year contract thing just now brought up? I didn't read it anywhere. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It was in the proposed contract under term, but I just wanted to highlight that sometimes the city enters into 2-year contracts for services. Sometimes they enter into 4-year contracts. If the council wants to vote for it to be whatever term they like, then make that part of your motion.
Yes, please, Councilman Han.
So why wouldn't we just put $3,500 on it? They take care of the grounds and we don't have to worry about it. I mean,
Certainly.
why don't we do that? Why would we want to take a chance at it costing us more money? Why wouldn't we just keep it as it is? I don't understand why we're bending the rules, I guess, too.
I don't think there's bending of rules happening. There's
Well, not
two
bending.
bids.
That was bad.
There's two bids within here
Uh-huh.
and you could draw reference to it in the drive.
Okay.
Where you can look at both of them. One includes the 3,500 with grounds. And that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's bid. Hang on, 07022 024. And then there's another one from the current. And that includes both options as well. Same. Am I seeing that correct, Rochelle?
Yes, and the bid tab is a little, I pulled an old one. So the first line is the bid with groundskeeping, and that's for, in the blue, it's Mr. Neubauer, and in the green, it's Ms. Waller. And then the second line is the bid submitted by both individuals without groundskeeping. And that's just below. And those amounts are per month. Is that understandable?
Please, go ahead.
Okay, so, the information that I've heard, and I guess who is watching over this, that, which city person is Shari?
Sorry, is.
Okay.
And
I
Hunter.
believe it was from her that, I'd heard that the cleanliness had far exceeded what we were receiving, with the last contractor. And that she was very happy. And then I hear from Josh that it stinks. And, I just wondering which way it is.
You can catch up with me after the meeting. I'll give you a business person's,
Okay.
name and you can talk to them. Okay.
I do want to draw attention though to our bid tabulation that Rochelle, and we have two bids there. I don't know if you're seeing the discrepancy in the dollar amount.
Yeah, huge.
What's that? I can report that, correct? That's a public, yeah, okay. So we have one bid amount from Scott Neubauer per month of $12,240. With grounds would be additional 10,000.
No. No, the number you gave is with grounds.
With grounds, excuse me, with grounds, without it's 10,000. Take my glasses off. This is terrible. I hate everything about this right now. Okay. And then the second bid from Tesha Waller in the amount of 3,500 with grounds per month versus without 3,400. So if you see the two bids, that's a big discrepancy in cost. I don't know if you guys were able to look at that.
Michelle on the table is for, Waller at
Mhm.
35.
The lower bid.
Without ground.
Madam President?
Yes,
Um,
please.
I mean, I would agree with Mr. Larson in terms of awarding without grounds as an avid gardener myself, and just the challenge to keep my own significantly smaller perennial bed looking even remotely. I mean, it is a ton of work.
Mhm.
And as I look through the groundskeeping about appropriately pruning perennials, et cetera, pruning trees, that's a really specialized skill set that I think it would be beneficial to have someone who does that work professionally, at least attempt to submit a bid, and both Ms. Waller and Mr. Neubauer, and who knows who else could submit
put in work.
bids to provide groundskeeping. So I would be in favor of that, but we haven't
Okay.
come to.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yep.
go ahead, Councilman. So that original bid on here, the reason that is Scott Neubauer is $12,240,000 a month. And Tesha Weller was 35,000. That's with grounds. 3,500, geez, 3,500. Thank you,
Rest in the budget.
man. So the motion on the table is that we approve the contract bid amount for Tesha Waller, the 35 or the 3,400 without grounds. That's the motion with the second. Any other discussion?
Call.
Yeah, let's call the question. Councilmember Hahn.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion carries. And then following up on the bid for the grounds, I would also, and maybe this isn't the
You
appropriate.
still
go
have
ahead.
a pending motion
Right.
on approval to sign by you.
So we got to
So
go
you have
back
to
that.
vote on
Okay.
that, which is the original motion.
Thank you. So we already have a motion and a second on the signature for council president and clerk to sign that agreement for services. Any discussion? Perfect. Call for the question. Councilmember Larson.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, and now it appears as though to go into executive session. May I get a motion?
Move to adjourn to executive session.
Second. Second, I have a motion by Councilmember White and a second by Councilmember Hahn. Call for the question. Councilmember Hahn. Yes, 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 yes.
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 Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Damn it. It's like a mouthful. It's a little confusing, honestly. But. And then we can move to adjourn.
Public order.
Well,
Councilman,
council members,
Could you? I will move to adjourn executive session.
second.
a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Gentlemen?
Calling for the question.
Come to the part.
Councilmember Larson.
That was good. Said yes.
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 Yes. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
To adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second, call for the question, Councilmember.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Made it.
I know.
What is this here? Was this just the consent agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.